welcome back to another episode of RNJ Discussions. I'm Jack Schneider along with my co-host Ronan Burke, and today we have one of those never-ending debates. Is Tom Brady the GOAT, meaning greatest of all time?
So today's going to be specifically focused on the article by Vinny Liar titled "Tom Brady Retires as the Undisputed NFL GOAT and Why There Will Never Be a Next Tom Brady." The rhetorical situation that we will tackle today is Vinny using his platform to modify the perspective of people who disagree with Tom Brady being associated with the word GOAT. And, my first big thought off that was when I read this was that Vinny Liar doesn't really understand any of the constraints that some people might have on thinking that Tom Brady is the so-called GOAT. Like a lot of people could be raised in Buffalo. You could be a Buffalo fan, and there are a lot of constraints that would come with considering Tom Brady the GOAT as a diehard Bills fan. A lot of people have been screwed over by Tom Brady. You never know. The possibilities are endless with constraints on that. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, to reach his audience, for those of you who don't know, Vinny Liar is a writer for SportingNews.com, which is a pretty popular sports news organization. So he posted this for anyone to read. So he's really reaching all types of audiences with this. And, I think his main goal really is to reach the audience that doesn't agree with him, to try to turn their views around and change their minds.
Yep, absolutely.
So now I guess we can kind of just dive into what Vinny Liar, some of the points he's really made to convince his opposing constraints. Some of them are he's won 12.7% of all Super Bowl rings, which is, I don't think any other quarterback in history has even come close to that. And he's also won, in the past 2 decades, he's also won more than 50% of all the Super Bowls. So, he's had a pretty dominating career. And, yeah.
Yeah, someone who really thinks Tom Brady's the GOAT would talk about all that. They would talk about how he has an astounding 84,520 career passing yards, which leads any quarterback by a pretty solid margin. Along with 624 passing touchdowns, which is just unheard of. He's still playing. And it's just unbelievable. He's passed everybody by pretty standard margin, and it's pretty hard to deny his status of GOAT at that point.
Yeah, and also I think it's good to point out that he's also been dominant all 20 years of his career. His last year in 2021, where some would say he's old or washed up, especially for a football player. It's a lot of years, 20 years to be being tackled as a quarterback. He's still dominating the league, not only on the Patriots, but now the Buccaneers. And, I think that just adds to his status of being the GOAT.
There are a lot of pretty valid viewpoints and backup with information for Tom Brady being the GOAT, but someone who does not think Tom Brady the GOAT would also talk about his coach Bill Belichick and how he was the reason why he won so many games and so many rings, because he was such a good coach, and he was always with him that people really questioned him for a while. He always people always said he always had a good team. He always had a fleet of skilled receivers, whether they were no-namers or big-time names. He always had a pretty stacked team. So a lot of people who don't think Tom Brady's the GOAT would use that information for their reasoning.
Yeah, and I guess we'll never really know if he would have been as dominant as he was for all those times if he was on a team that some would say are not stacked or not have the best players. Unlike the Patriots, which did have a good team pretty much his whole career, which is 22 years of being able to pass to good receivers, which really helped him out in the long run. Yeah. So let's kind of dive into what persuasion methods he uses to really persuade his opposing audience. So yeah, as we just stated, he's stated many facts and stats on why he thinks himself that Tom Brady is the GOAT, and they're all true, and they all don't really hold any opinion based. So he uses facts mostly in his persuasion methods. Yeah.
Yeah, some constraints also come from a biased standpoint, as some people, do not like Tom Brady just purely because he played for a Boston sports team, a city whose sports teams are polarizing to many, causing yet another exigence in the text. Therefore, their opinion on this matter would definitely be biased. I mean, those in the audience who are pushing back on Tom Brady's legacy are those who will impact the targeted point of this text and hinder the ability for opinion to change from this text. It's really there is a lot of constraints. So this text can't really go, just without anything else being said, because obviously there are some constraints. There are some other viewpoints that people have that don't align with the authors.
Yeah, and as Bitzer said in his text, the definition of an audience in his mind consists only of those persons who are capable of being influenced by discourse and mediators of change. So the people who would never be able to have their minds changed, would never even think about thinking of Tom Brady as the greatest quarterback of all time, wouldn't be Vinny Lyre's ideal audience in this text.
No, definitely not.
It would kind of be somebody who was unbiased and could go either way. He doesn't have to be right. He doesn't have to convince. So another topic that I think it's good to point out also is the timing, really, of this article. When it was first published, Tom Brady formally announced his retirement, but as you know, he just came back from retirement currently. But right after he announced his retirement, that debate was a pretty hot topic in the sport, not only the sports world, the football world, and just it was a big topic to discuss between a lot of people. So that is one of the other reasons why his audience would be bigger than just a normal, because he posted it during the time where people were looking at that and researching it on the internet where he did post that. So obviously he's going to have a bigger audience, a broader audience too, not just Patriots fans, but all football fans who have known Tom Brady.
Yeah, no, definitely, and also another point to bring up is him, making the switch from going to the Patriots with that prestigious record to then switching to the Buccaneers and then winning a Super Bowl there. Really does not hurt his fight for that title of the GOAT. And it really, I think that did really broaden his audience. Because a lot of people, had that constraint. They really just disliked him because he was a Patriots player. And, I think him making the switch to another team and, getting it done with another team really helped him out big time.
Yeah, it really proved some of the audience who would say that the only reason for his success is because he was on a good football team the whole time, which the Buccaneers are also a good football team. They have great receivers for Tom Brady to pass to, but he also continued his greatness not only in New England but down to Tampa Bay as well.
Yeah, no doubt. We definitely hope to broaden our audience's horizons and also broaden those confident enough to publish about the topic. That was our main goal, and we hope you guys had a great time listening with us, and we'll catch you again next time.
Yep, we'll see you on the next episode. R&J Discussions. I'm Jack Schneider, my co-host Ronan Burke. Goodbye and all, and thanks for listening.
Cheerio.